real estate. Flipping keys, no way. Eating good, I got a lot on my plate. But this is what I wanted, so I can't complain.
The Minority Reports Podcast, where we keep it real. Estate and entrepreneurship education for the minority of 3% action takers. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, and co-host, Dan Delgado.
That was
you were looking forward to that,
I've been waiting for it.
Anytime, Zach, just feel free to call me and I'll just do it over the phone.
Right.
FaceTime me.
Can I get a wake-up call?
Yeah, there you go.
Just recording it for an alarm.
What's good, everybody? It's Billy the Kid, your host of the Minority Report Podcast with...
Dan Delgado, your co-host.
That was boring.
That's all right. I'm boring.
That was very boring.
I'll make my own thing.
You need to come up with a horn or something. Actually, you know what's funny? That talking about that, I found a little clip when you yelled "Wake Up" in Colorado, and I showed Desiree, and she was like. It was like the most highest pitch annoying thing I could probably do. Yes, I was just in so I need more of that. I need more of that.
More energy like that.
But anyways, we're excited today. Thanks for having us, Zach. Definitely
first time, second location.
Yeah.
Or first time having the location shot twice.
Yep, the second.
Actually, it looks
time.
a lot different than the first time we were here.
Yeah, we just did the quick tour, and definitely, the building looks way amazing now. Like now that it's finished and all the stuff you were telling us that you're going to expand. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. But today's episode will be a little bit different. We're doing a bonus episode. Acton is a school that I wish I would have gone to.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would definitely be a better podcaster, right? Like, because, and actually, if you could introduce yourself real quick, if you could give us your name real quick.
My name is Evan.
Okay, and why are you here? We'll dive deep, but let the people know why we're here today.
Okay. I'm here because I won a podcast contest where our studio had to make podcasts, and we put them together all by ourselves, and then we recorded them.
The crazy thing is, like I said, I wish I would have done that. Like when I was your age, especially your age, like even high school, I would have taken it in high school. So, Zach, if you could tell us a little bit of what went on, and that way we'll get into.
Well, before that, can you actually, if anyone didn't watch that first episode you were on, can you tell us about Acton and then what your role is here?
Yep.
Yeah. First off, how dare you not listen to the first episode that I was on? Secondly,
that is true.
No, it's awesome to have you guys back, and I'm more than grateful that you guys took the time to come and do this bonus episode. But like you said, the first time that you guys were out here, this was 4 exterior walls and a pile of 2x4s, and we were rushing to get ready for 50 plus students to come in here this past fall. And now here we are in February with gearing up for another year of growth and getting ready to add yet another studio to the space. And so when we got ready to do this podcast quest for Evan's studio, the Discovery Studio, I wanted to reach out to you guys and say, hey, if all these heroes go through this process of writing, producing, and recording a podcast, would you guys come out with whoever wins based on the votes of those that attend the exhibition? Would you guys come back and host them? And obviously,
and let's make that clear too, that it wasn't like, oh, she's my friend, so I'm going to vote for her.
Yeah.
Like if you could go over the voting that went on.
Yeah. So we do public exhibitions. So think of the iPhone release, right? That's how we treat every sprint that they work on here. Every 4 to 6 weeks, they build up to this public exhibition of what they've learned. So this week, we actually have an exhibition coming up where they will be showing their parents and anyone else from the public that comes what they've been working on. And so last session was that podcast. And so they, Evan, was it the top 2 or top 3 that got voted on at the exhibition?
It was the top 2.
Okay. So they had selected based on criteria. They had kind of a checklist of items. It had to be submitted on time. It had to have done all the challenges that they needed to complete, and then they could be voted on. And then the parents and everyone that attended got to listen to both of those podcasts, and then voted on the best one. And that's who's sitting here with us today. Is Miss
congratulations! Evans. That's awesome. Can we get a burr for that? Thank you. No, that's awesome. I mean, was it like well, first of all, what was your podcast about?
Dogs and horses, my favorite animals.
Okay.
Were you guys able to choose that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so you guys basically had to choose whatever subject you would like and run with it.
Yeah, we could work in a group.
What made you choose that?
I love dogs and I love horses, so.
Do they have anything in common? Other than you love them?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you must have been able to mix them well if you won the podcast contest, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I guess I am going to go. I'm planning on going to an academy to ride horses.
Okay.
And I've rode over summers. So, yeah, I think like I just have like relationships with like dogs and horses. I have dogs at home and just love them.
So when you were doing the podcast or maybe like getting it ready or even throughout any part of the process, what was the hardest part for you?
Probably the writing what I was going to say out, because it had to be 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with just dogs and it was 2 minutes. Then I thought, let's add horses because I need this to be longer.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So I got it to the right amount, and then I had to, like when I recorded it, I had to fit the music, like the background music with it to make sure that it sounded right and stuff. So I think that definitely writing it out, but at the same time recording.
So when you were actually recording it, were you reading word for word, or was it just kind of like an outline of thing? I mean, because if you love them, you know, I'm sure you're able to talk about them, no problem.
I think it was more of, it wasn't word for word. It was more of kind of like doing, like saying whatever I want, but at the same time having this paper that I can look at if I get stuck. So.
Cool. What kind of feedback did your parents give you?
They said that they liked it a lot, and they said that I could work on like not saying as many times, because that was
hard.
Yes,
it's hard.
it
We
is
still do it.
Yeah.
So it's a practice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really is.
Absolutely. I mean, I told her before I came on that I've done radio, TV, you know, everything, and that's always you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
But that's always what sticks out to me too, is whenever I say the uhs or the ums or those pauses. But I know, and I don't know the answer to this. Did you fail at any point in that process? I know that others in the studio failed and had to come back and course correct. Did you have any failures that you overcame?
Yes, I deleted it.
Oh. The whole
I did it. And I was adding music and I was cutting parts off that I didn't like, and I ended up deleting it on accident. So.
Oh.
Yes, so I had to do it again, but I think that it was a good setback because the second one was much better.
I was about to say, it's probably better.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that was an awesome answer. Like she said, it was a great setback because you got better. Like you, obviously, whatever you learned from the first one, you definitely added on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So the was it just by themselves then that they did?
You could work by yourself or with one other person. So a few.
So it was your choice.
Yeah, I know a few people worked with another person, but most by themselves.
Yeah. What made you go by yourself?
I thought I had worked on Quest before with other people, and I liked it and it worked well, but then I just kind of wanted to change.
Oh.
So, and I thought I had a really good idea, and I thought that I could make it work by myself very well.
You made it work.
Yeah.
Look, you're on one of the biggest podcasts.
Oh, God. One of the biggest podcasts in South Lincoln right now, recording at the same moment. So when you were going into the whole project, was it something that you were nervous about, or did it feel pretty natural to you?
I think I was a little nervous, but I think it felt like once I knew what I was going to say and I knew like how everything worked and stuff, the thing that I was most nervous about was probably like recording and like something happens, like the microphone falls or something like
delete
that,
it.
or delete it. Yeah.
Now, you know, to be fair, that is still my, like, as we have these cameras rolling right now, I'm always have this weird paranoia, and it comes from nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, what if one just stopped recording? And so that's why I have the one monitor, but it probably wouldn't go away. I don't see that ever going away for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a healthy paranoia because
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you
for
make sure.
So what, like, is this something that you would see yourself doing more now? Like, did you like it that much, or
I liked it.
was it just fun? And
I liked it. I think that I can see myself just like at home recording, making my own booth. I think that would be
nice.
something fun.
you
know,
should.
My daughter and her best friend, Morgan, I told them when we started our podcast, I was like, because I was super
I
scared when
remember
we
that.
started. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I told my daughter, I was like, you know, like, it'd be kind of cool to have two young girls, you know, they were what, 12 at the time? 12? No, they're 13. I was like, it'd be kind of cool to have a couple of young girls just like have a podcast about things girls go through, you know, at that
Yeah.
age. I don't know of anything like that. I mean, it's probably not my demographic, but like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I don't think that like age has, you know, anything to do with it. So you can
I've
definitely.
thought about doing a middle schooler's point of view of like real like world things that are happening.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you.
You
So
should.
this is a pretty cool project because
I will build the podcast studio for you if you do that.
there you go.
Acton will have a podcast studio if you want to move forward with that.
I would love to be one of your what do you call the people that come in that help the kids when they're
Everyday hero?
sure.
Yep. Or mentor.
Oh,
but
A
yeah.
mentor, there you go, the mentor, because I forgot what you call them. But yeah, no, that'd be a lot of fun. This is the type of project that you don't really ever see. Like,
Yeah.
what grade are you in?
5th.
Fifth. Wow, yeah. Fifth grade. God, what are you still doing in the traditional schools? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the 13 colonies, maybe that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
so, you know, this is definitely different. You know, what can you tell us outside of this project? What's different about Acton that? Because you went to traditional school before,
Yes.
right? This is your first year here.
Yes.
So then you're well versed in the old style stuff. So what's different about this place?
Instead of like giving you the answers, you get guided on them. Like you don't, because at I went to LPS before, and at LPS everyone's like I ask a question and they're giving me the answer, and that wasn't helping me at all. So also like just learning things that I want to learn and not having to like learn things that I don't like I don't want to learn exactly, or my family doesn't want me to learn. So I think that this school has given me a lot of freedom, and it has making me a better person, and like now I'm thinking about being an entrepreneur, being like all these things that I wasn't thinking about like 2 years ago. So.
That's awesome. And then with like what does a typical day look like for you here?
We do core skills, which is Dreambox and Lexia, and that is reading and math on our computers. And then we have we'll have DEAR or something, which is
Drop everything and read.
Yep, drop everything and read. So we just get to go and we just get to read, get our yoga mats out, and then we'll have lunch and outdoor time. And then we always have some sort of quest or writer's workshop. So our writer's workshop this session is memoirs. So we're writing our own like memoirs about, we have to answer certain questions. And then Art Quest is we are making art, and we're getting ready for our art exhibition that is this week.
And then you guys did what was that event you guys had? The business
fair.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, real quick, backing up to what she said with Writer's Workshop, just to kind of expand on the difference between traditional and what we're doing. And this just kind of is a microcosm of that. So Writer's Workshop is their chance to do writing, and every session that changes. And so last session that was tied in with the podcast and writing their podcast. But the goal is that they would never write a report in MLA format.
Oh,
They're
God,
never
MLA, I
going to
forgot
write
about that.
a book report that's required on this book, right? They're writing real world things. So it might be a podcast. It might be learning to tell your own story through that memoir. It might be coding. It might be a blog post, but doing real world writing. And that's just kind of a microcosm of obviously the bigger picture. Case in point, the business fair. So we do that twice a year. Right out here in the front lawn of Acton. And so we did that in the fall during the Huskers lost to Minnesota. So we had it on the big screen, so we got to watch the loss to Minnesota. But we had about 50 youth-run businesses out there, and so everything from arts and crafts type stuff to baked goods to what did you guys have, Evan?
I did cake pops and brownies and Rice Krispie treats.
Awesome. So
Yes.
allowing them to have the opportunity to say, okay, what is this product that I want to bring to market, if you will, right? How am I going to produce this? How much is it going to cost me? How much am I going to be able to charge, right? How much is somebody going to want to pay real money for this real product to me? And then going through the sales process and having to draw people into your booth and have a booth that's presentable and people want to come to, being able to sell yourself and sell your product. And, we had everyone from I think 15 or 16-year-old was our oldest, all the way down to my 4-year-old daughter was trying to sell some homemade crafts that she had done and worked very hard on, but also learn lessons of what do people really want to pay for your product, right? And is this valuable? And also learn that she's shy. And we knew that, but she got to go through that. And so it's an awesome opportunity, and we're doing that here again coming up in May.
Nice.
May. Do you have a date for that?
May 14th, I think, whatever that Saturday is.
What are you trying to sell, Billy? Your book?
Can I set up a booth for my book? Is that what you said?
So Evan, clearly you're doing really well. Like you're excelling here. You're kind of a good model of what how well a student can do with this type of learning. What would you say would be a description of a good student for somewhere like Acton, or a good learner for Acton?
Someone who can be a leader and not be afraid to tell people if someone's distracting you while you're working, not be afraid to tell them to please go sit down. Someone who, of course, can be nice and can work well together with others.
And then the teachers you guys call, is it
Guides.
Guides?
It's
Okay, so I guess this question is more for you, or I guess maybe for you too. Like, what makes a good guide?
a good guide. They at least try their hardest to not answer all the questions, and most of them I always if I ask a question, could you try to ask another hero? Like, it's a good, all the guides that we have here at Acton are very good at that. So you try to not answer questions. They can lead the studio without telling us what to do exactly.
Right.
They can
Kind of sounds like they help you find the answer rather than just giving you the answer, which is important too.
Instead of giving out the answer sheet or something, because that's happened for sure.
So what do you look for as Acton when you? I mean, because obviously with you expanding, you're probably looking for more guides now.
Yeah. So what Evan was talking about there, 3 before G. It's kind of an acronym that we say. So there's 3 things that we ask every hero to do before they come to the guide. They need to use their brain, right? How often do we, or as parents, how often do you see your kid run to you for that answer, right? To a question, how many times have we talked about this? You know the answer, right? So use your brain first. Make sure you've exhausted your brain before you come to us. A book or a resource in the room, right? So that might be something that's posted on the wall, like the schedule of what's coming next, right? Or it might be going to YouTube and looking up how to do this math problem that I'm struggling with, right? This is real world. Go use YouTube, right? You have a phone in your pocket. We're not going to say you can't use a calculator to do math, right? So use the resources that you have available, and then a buddy. And that's what Evan was talking about, is go ask somebody else in the room that's either been there and done that or might already know the answer, and to help you work through it. So that's something huge. And we actually track how many questions are answered in each studio every week. By the guides.
I never knew that. Okay.
I would have thought that's questions.
So we actually keep track of that because it's that important. We don't want the answer being given to something as simple as what time is lunch. Go figure it out. Like, this is real life. Go figure it out. Otherwise with guides, it's really with our younger studios, we look for somebody with kind of Montessori experience. In the elementary age, we're looking with somebody that is more camp counselor background or Sunday school youth pastor. And then in high school and middle school, I want entrepreneurs. I want that problem solving brain to be in there feeding, and that growth mindset brain in there just feeding these heroes that every single day, so that when they leave here, whether you go and start your own startup that, you know, ends up with venture capital, or you become a W-2 employee for your entire career, you're still a better person for being able to problem solve and think like an entrepreneur does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I love that. And Evan, what's something that, what's your favorite part about Acton? Like, what comes to mind as soon as I asked you that?
Probably the ability to actually experience like things that, like the Kid Entrepreneur Fair, like I'm experiencing like at a thing that like all my friends that went to traditional school would never really experience because I'm experiencing business, I'm experiencing math by calculating the money, all of that stuff, and then doing stuff like the podcasts and the art and the architecture. I'm just experiencing like all these things that the real world has to offer at school.
What do your friends that go to traditional school, what do they kind of think of what you're doing?
They try to explain it to them, but it's so hard to explain.
Sorry to wrap your around it.
So they're always they're saying, why did you leave? And I always say, because this is better. Because like I want to take them here and I want to show them, and I know that if I showed them it, they would be so happy. Yeah. They would want to come. So they always think like, oh, why didn't you're not learning anything. But really, like, I'm on 6th grade math stuff. So, and they're still down at this 5th grade level. It's maybe even still 4th grade. So
a lot of I know your guys' stuff is self-driven for your learning.
Yes.
Do you find that was pretty hard to change over to when you started here, or is it?
It was a little bit. I think that it was hard to not have like, okay, so today we're going to do exponents and today we're going to do this. So but I do like it a lot because now I get to think, well, I know exponents very well, but I don't know this very well. So I need to start working on this more. And I get to decide like, well, during like the reading time, the scheduled reading time, if I'm on the certain freedom level, which is freedom levels if you get a certain amount of minutes on Lexia, which is minutes of doing your reading stuff, and lessons on Dreambox, which is like each lesson of math gets done, then you get to a certain freedom level. And with my freedom level that I'm on right now, which is freedom level 2, I can decide during like Lexia time, I could do Dreambox, so I could do math. So I really now just get to decide, what do I need to work on?
Freedom's earned, not given, right?
Yes.
So what she's talking about there is that you have to earn that freedom and basically, in a way, earn our respect and our trust to go do this work, right? And if not, school's going to look a little more traditional for you until you can prove that, and then you get more and more freedom to the point of getting to go to the other studios and work and help the younger heroes on things. Or I know Evan's had the adventure studios, which are the older, the middle schoolers, come down and help you on math and things too. So that's a big difference. I saw a thing the other day, and it reminded me of Dan when you asked her, what did her friends think? The idea of leaders are looked at weird until it's too late, because then people finally get it. Right. So like when you're a leader and you're out pushing forward, people look at you weird and they don't get it until that curve has caught up. And now, now it's too late because they've caught up to you, and now it's the normal thing.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's my bio or something. Just listen to it. That's amazing. I love that.
So we can circle back real quick to the podcast. What's like the biggest takeaway or lesson that you learned from that specific quest?
Probably that, like, honestly, like, put yourself out there. Like, if you, like, are, like, if you're scared to record something that, of course, these weren't shown, like, on YouTube like you guys do, but you're afraid to, like, do something, like, who cares what other people think? Like,
Oh, I love that.
like,
That is a great ad. How old are you?
Yeah.
11.
11. Wow, that's a great.
I'm gonna have you co-host this podcast. And
That's God. I'll just be that video guy. No, that's
that's
so
an amazing answer. Yeah.
refreshing and great to hear, especially from a young lady. You know, like your age, because that's not typical. You know, a lot of people care a lot about what other people think, and especially with starting a podcast. I think I love the idea of podcasts because literally anybody can go out there. So it's a great thing. It can also be dangerous, but like. You can just put your thoughts out there and for relatively cheap, and inexpensive. There's not a ton of barrier to entry. And I know Billy kind of alluded to it earlier, but if you were to, do the studio at home or even, it sounds like you got Zach in on building one here, but
let me back up. I won't be the one actually building it. They will come up with the plans. They will be the ones building it, and they'll put it together. So that's, anything. That's what we try to do is empower them. I've got a list of maintenance stuff that needs to happen, and I'm gonna go pick those heroes that have enough freedom, and they're gonna come out and help me from fixing, a broken coat hook to cleaning stuff.
Wow.
And so they're gonna, if we move forward with that podcast studio, they would be the ones building it and getting
let
to
us
go
know
through that
if
process.
you guys need help. Like if there's anything that me and Dan can do, we would love it. So.
Awesome.
So do you think you'll continue with the same topic or switch it up?
I think I'd probably switch it up. I love animals just in general, like gone to camp for animals for years. So I think it would mostly be either an animal thing or like a middle schooler's point of view on like real world happenings.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
I really think you should do
that would definitely be a great idea, actually.
I think I'll go with that one. I've been thinking about like different things that I could just like write a blog about, and I've been thinking about different things, and I think my backup would be the animal one, but
How was it listening to yourself, like once the final cut was made?
I liked it, but I just thought like, why did I say this? Why did I do this? It's always like, you're the biggest critic, like Zach said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you are your own biggest critic. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm his biggest critic, but other than that,
It's because Billy won't critique himself the same as Zach.
Zach knows this too well.
I haven't got to read this book yet, but there's probably no editing done or anything.
That's funny. I love that. Love it. So what was the, I know we touched a little bit on it, but what has been like the biggest differences you've seen since you were in a regular school to now Acton? What are some of the stuff that you've seen that, and your favorite stuff that you've, like I said, we touched on it a little bit, but more specifically, if you could give us like some actual, basically actions that you've actually taken now compared to just regular school.
Well, at home, my family and I have noticed this. I'm like, my sister, she might not clean after herself sometimes, up after herself. And so my mom and I have noticed that I have been the leader at home, like telling her like, you need to clean this up or else I'm not going to clean it for you. And I'm not going to do whatever it is anymore. Like stuff like that. So I, like at home a lot, things like that, or like my dad like interrupts or something, and I'm at home, like if like at home 2 years ago, if my dad interrupted, I would just sit there. Now I would like say something about it, or like whoever interrupts in a conversation, if it happens, I would say something about it.
That's great. No, I mean, being assertive is a very, very good skill.
Yeah. We've actually, sorry to interrupt you, Evan. We've actually heard that a lot from parents. Is just that it's not even it's certainly not about the academics at Acton, right? Like you're going to learn math, you're going to learn to write, but it's not about that. It's about who you're becoming as a human being. And we hear that a lot with families that have started this year, is just how different home is, how much more calm and organized and responsible the heroes are when they're at home, and just how that life and giving them more responsibility inside these walls translates into the home too.
Yeah, and those were great answers, by the way. Like the
very, very insightful.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like not having homework and then like
is that your favorite
home.
part?
I mean, I like it. But
And actually, if we could touch on that real quick, why not homework? Why no homework?
You want me to answer that, or do you want Miss Evans?
Both.
That's probably a Zach question.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is
all
a
right.
Zach question.
Okay.
Yeah.
No homework, because after you leave here at 3:15, it's family time. Beyond the statistics, beyond what the studies show with homework and how stupid it is, and what a waste of time it is. And really the reason that your kid, if you're in traditional school, is coming home with homework, it's because they've wasted the 8 hours that they were at school that day.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's no different than if you're coming home with loads and loads of work from work, is because you're not optimizing your time properly. Sorry, but you're not. And so there's all of that at play, but also because we adamantly believe that it's family time. And kindergartners through 8th grade all the way through high school, they don't need to be coming home and doing loads and loads of homework. They can get all the work done that they need to during the day. And if they choose to go home and do work, great, right? If they have a passion project and they want to do a podcast on the side, great. If they're excited about what they're working on in math and they want to come home and do it, awesome, more power to you, but we're not going to require
And then
it.
at that point, it wouldn't be work. That's the
Yeah.
best thing
exactly.
about it.
Yep.
It wouldn't be work. And I love that, because it also just makes me think, I think most people, like you said, even if they act like they're going to bring something home, they most likely won't work on it. Overall, there's no homework in real life, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, and if anything, we strive. I love that you said family time, because with entrepreneurship or owning a business, that's literally what you strive to do. Is once you get home, it's like, okay, it's family time, it's home time. So I love that.
Yep.
All right, so amazing things that you have been doing. So what's in the future for you, Evan? What are you thinking? So, for example, with the business fair coming up, what are you working on?
I'm thinking to do. I'm thinking my friend in the adventure studio, she says that her name's Olivia, and she says that she has a very good popcorn, like caramel popcorn recipe.
Ooh.
And other like different types of popcorn. So we're thinking about doing that. But if I were to do one alone, I was thinking American flags and like different things like that, like American flags on coasters, pictures and stuff like that, like patriotic stuff that we need to have out in the world right now.
Ooh, I like that. Either one of those.
It's good timing too, because we're in May, so it'll be a couple months from July 4th.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Well, and I, with Olivia and her
Can I
dad,
invest and go
Right.
in on the profits?
Olivia's dad might have a really good distribution channel for your popcorn if that gets going. He owns Kincaidor Brewing, so the popcorn would be a good niche in there for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure. No, yeah, love it. And then just in general, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
She's still at Acton.
Still at Acton, yeah.
Yeah.
At that point.
All right, 10 years.
I can see myself either training. I can see myself being an entrepreneur. I can see myself going to vet school. I can see myself training to be in the Olympics, like really anything, like ice skating in the Olympics, because I do that now, and so it's just like big goals, but like working my way there.
That's
awesome.
a great attitude.
No, and that's perfect. Like as we wrap this up, like that's exactly my goal for any graduate of Acton. Like the world is at your fingertips, right? And when you leave here and when you walk out those doors right behind these cameras for the last time, you are prepared to go to school if you want to, right? My goal would actually be that no one goes to college that leaves here. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like unless you have vet school, lawyer, doctor, like unless it's that career path that you have to go to college, I don't want you to go to college. But you will be prepared to do so if you so choose. You will have built a business every single year that you're here. Like my kids will, from the time they're in kindergarten until they're seniors in high school, they'll have built businesses, right? And Evan will have too. And so they're perfecting their craft over that time, so they can go and either start one right out of college or high school, or they've already done that and they've started it in high school and are building up to something. Or you go get a job at a top company right out of high school, because you don't need a piece of paper to tell you know how to do a job or to sell people, right? Like you learn
I have that
those
piece
things.
of paper.
Yeah, exactly. So do I. And I have all the pieces of paper that I owe for that one piece of paper.
Exactly. So we normally ask some questions at the end. I don't think they really would pertain to this one, but I do want to ask what I usually ask. And maybe I'll have you go first, Zach, but I always like to ask if there's anything that our listeners or viewers can bring of you that can bring to you that would be of value.
All 100 of them.
Yeah. 120, I think is where we are.
That's on YouTube.
What can they bring to us of value? I think right now, the business fair is an awesome opportunity. If you have kids anywhere from 18 on down that they might be interested in doing something, come and try that out. If you own your own business and are just interested in learning more what we're doing, we would love to have you come in. We try to bring people in that are kind of within the industry of anything that they're working on at that time. And we want them to learn from people that are doing things in the real world. So that's kind of the biggest thing right now for us, is just getting connected with more people so that we can bring people in. Eventually in our middle school, I want to bring an entrepreneur in every single week to have a sit down with them and get a dialogue with our middle and high schoolers. So obviously that's going to take a big list of folks to pull that off. Lucky. So.
Seriously.
I like Zach's idea because my parents are entrepreneurs, like both of them. So
what do your parents do?
My dad owns Advantage Landscapes. It's a landscaping business. He has about during the summer he had about 16 employees.
Oh wow.
So my mom, she owns it's called Time Saver Cleaning. She goes to people's houses and she cleans for them, and I've helped her out with that. So I love that idea that you have for that.
Yeah.
That's great. You're cut from that cloth then.
Yep.
Pretty good. So what about you? Is there anything that our listeners can bring of value to you?
Well,
podcasting equipment maybe?
Well, I would say that even like if you're not interested in a school like this, come take a tour, and just so like at home you could maybe, if you have kids, you could be that guide instead of like giving them stuff. Maybe it could help you if you don't exactly want to come to this school, or like you're not able to come to this school, find another school. Like just take a tour, like see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of tours, my next step is to hand off tours to the heroes. And parents coming in the door, they wouldn't even meet with me. They would meet a hero when they walk in, and that person would tour them through the entire school. So you might, if you came in here very soon, you might get to meet Evan as well. So
she's an
awesome.
impressive young lady, and I think you're doing some awesome things here, man.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book?
And if you like a business one or a book that just about life.
Okay.
Being uncomfortable. That's what he wants you to say.
What'd you say? The power of being uncomfortable? No, what's like a book that stands out?
Let me think.
It can be anything. It doesn't have to be like a specific
Okay.
self-improvement or anything like that.
Yeah.
It could be Harry Potter for all.
Harry Potter.
You just, not to give you an answer, but you did just read a book to earn a badge here.
Yes. I think that was a very good book. It was called growing my leadership garden, and it goes through how you need, like, what steps you need to like improve to get to this like big leader in my studio, to get to this leader that everyone's like looking up to, which is my goal. And so it goes through, it's called the unique tour, which there's certain steps like things like not like demanding or having control over people and stuff like that. So that was a very good book about like just like
sounds like leadership more than
yeah.
And
that's awesome.
One last question, since you mentioned that both your parents are entrepreneurs, what are some of the stuff you've learned at home?
I've learned that there's a lot of math involved with bills, invoices, all that stuff. There's a lot of math. I've learned that you you need to have a plan before you just like, not exactly like a thought through really well plan. Like, so you could just go out there and make this business, but you need to at least have something. Like, you need to know what you want to do. You need to know like exactly how you're gonna do it, but at the same time, like, just kind of like
not overthinking
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No,
That's a balance there. Yeah. That's great.
Love it. And then last question for you, Zach, is where can people find out more?
Yeah, Acton Academy Lincoln.com, ACTON, AcademyLincoln.com. And like I said, we're doing auditions right now. We'll be just shy of probably 100 students in the fall.
Wow.
So that's basically doubling again.
Yes.
And we'll be at capacity for most of those studios in the fall too, if not all of them. So, but it's not about Acton. It's about giving, like you guys said, giving your children what you wish you could have had, right? And that's what entrepreneurship is we're trying to get to a financial standpoint and a freedom standpoint with time and money to be able to give them what we couldn't, right? But if we can give them nothing else, we can give them the mindset to do that themselves and give them the opportunities to do that themselves. And so whatever you got to do to pull that off, that's the important thing.
Well, thank you again, guys, for having us. And
thank you.
congratulations to you on
Thank
winning.
you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Congrats.
If there's anything Billy and I can do to help, don't
Okay.
be afraid to reach out. Zach's got our number, and
Okay.
just let us know. So.
Yeah, for
Sounds
sure.
good.
For sure. And if we could listen to that episode, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my Chromebook, so.
Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Minority Report Podcast, and then make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, That Minority Report Podcast, and let's get it. Vámonos.
Baby, let's get it. My hand to please don't segregate. Dress in a suit, I can't relate. Minority Report, can't ignore. Being rich from poor and your credit score. My hand to please don't segregate. Dress in a suit, I can't relate.